Will, how are your tree growing process going? Uh, I love mine. I have decided to keep this a wall hanging, and simply because it's very intricate, it's very artsy, it's got all the sequins and things on it. Uh, it's not conducive to using as like a utility quilt. Now, you could make a quilt out of it, like a lap size quilt or something like that, that's decorative for your house. That'd be, that'd be wonderful too, or even to hang on the wall. If I did that, then I would just keep adding squares to it until I got where I wanted to go. As you can see, I've got 4 squares together. I've got my sashing down the center here, and then I made a thinner sashing to go across here, just to break it up a little bit more and just give a little more density. Diversity. And so that sashing is on. And of course, everything is put together just like all my wild and free quilts are put together, stitching them from the back side and then sashing them from the front side. All right, now what I'm going to do on this to make it a little larger wall hanging and also give it a different dimension. I've got one that's going to be kind of narrow and long, and I've got one that's basically square. And this one is going to be like rectangle because I'm adding this border of leaves on each side. This one here will just duplicate over here on this side. Then I will bind the whole quilt, little quilted piece here. Now, what I did here was I just took a piece of batting, 3.5 inches. I put the fabric on top of it. I did not iron it. I don't iron. No, no, no. Leave the wrinkles. I love the wrinkles. So I put that on, and then I turned it right sides together and sewed about 1/4 inch down the side, and then turned it and top stitched it to secure that 1/4 inch from the top side, so everything lays flat there. Okay, now this row of stitching is simply basting. It will come out when I put the binding on. Okay, but it's just to keep my fabric down so I can work on it. Now, this is just cording that I have couched on. It's this cording right here that I have couched onto this side. Made some little loops as I couched it on. Left a little bit of extra length so that I can, when I put the binding on, I can tuck that up and it will look like it runs right into up under the binding. Cut leaves and then just stitch them on. And since this is a wall hanging and it's not going to be used, what I did was I just stitched down the center of those leaves, and the raw edges are there. Okay. All right. And I've got, 2 different shapes of leaves, and you can see I've connected them like that. Okay. Let's see. Will I add anything else in here? I'm not sure. I was thinking about some little circles, but then I thought that, that's just too busy. I don't want to overpower my trees with the sides, but I wanted you to see how I'm progressing with mine as a wall hanging, and to give you maybe some ideas as you work along with yours. This was fun to make. This was so easy to make. And what a wonderful gifts they would give these small wall hangings like this. And it's something that's doable. I mean, you sit down and work this out. You could finish this in a week, 2 at the most, and make a wonderful little gift. When you put your backing on it and your binding on it, and run you a casing on the back, that way the person has a way to hang it. put a dowel through it or whatever they want to put through it and hang it. That would, be great, wouldn't it? All right. Well, I just wanted to show you that. And I'm fixing to stitch down these and then start my other side over here. And when I get finished with that and start the binding, I will come back and show you that. Till then, let's grow some trees. Okay, I'm back and we are going to see what this looks like with both of its side trims with the leaves on it. I really think that sets this off and makes a nice wall hanging out of these snippet trees. They are so cute on their own. They just needed a little bit bigger presentation, and so these side panels I think are just going to do it well. Now I am binding this in the same fabric that I am binding my quilt and my circles wall hanging. This knit fabric is working beautifully. The color of it I'm just loving because it goes with everything I'm making. Everything's so colorful that this just goes with it perfectly. And I have so much of it that I am just thrilled to find a project I can use it on where I really love it, because I love the fabric itself. It is just beautiful with the tangerine coloring, the little darker flowers, the green, the red in the middle. It's just nice, and it has a stretch to it a little bit. It's a t-shirt material. Like I said, I bought that at an estate sale several years ago, and I have never found a use for it, and I had quite a bit of it. And let me show you the bigger piece. Okay, so this is a bigger piece of yardage, as you can see, and it's been sitting on a shelf, and so I'm just really happy to find a use for it. Now, the I put a backing on this, of course, and I did just some rough quilting to put everything together. I tacked invisibly just a little bit to keep each block centered well where it's supposed to be. And what I did, was just quilt around the edges of the sashing. Okay, I just love it. It just feels so squishy and good and just really nice. And the wrinkled fabric just goes, wow. You don't know if you can tell that it's wrinkled, but there you go. It just adds to, I just love wrinkled fabric. It gives me almost a little puffiness that I didn't have to work in. It's natural because I leave the wrinkles in. And I love that look. It makes it look used. Makes it look like it's been used and washed, and it's just loved, more or less. It's definitely one of those soul stitching things where it just feels like that's what I need to do. And so that's what I do. So don't ever be hemmed in by rules that maybe there's a rule that says you need to do this, but maybe it doesn't feel right for your project. And so do it from the soul. Do it from within. Do it intuitively, what feels right to you. Unless you are making it for someone else, unless you're making it for competition, unless you're making it for some specific reason where rules are important, then make it for you, right straight out of your soul. Okay? All right. Now I will be putting this binding on the other three sides and a sashing on the back. And this quilt will be finished, this little quilted wall hanging. And remember, you can make a quilt out of anything that I'm doing here in this Wild and Free series of quilt designs, because all you have to do is add more blocks, whatever. The size is up to you. I need what I'm trying to do, when I started out, I really had the intention of making lap-size quilts for all of these. But after getting my husband's quilt, which I just need a couple more stitches on that and I'll be done, I realized that it would take me a very long time to finish these, and so that everyone could see the design and be able to have something to work on if they liked it. So what I've decided to do is make wall hangings out of the majority of them, because I need those in my home, and I want to make my living room a gallery, and I have some major wall space in there to fill. And I'm thinking, well, this is the year to do it, Linda. While you're designing all of these for your Facebook community, then fill up your wall. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. Okay? So I hope you're liking it. And this is, I just wanted to show real simply. The strip that I'm using here is about 3.5. Now, it could go down to 3 real easy, even 2.5, and be all right, because I'm turning up quite a bit on the back side. But all I'm doing to form a casing, and I'm making squared edges, I'm not doing mitered edges. I always put a little over the edge, that way I have something to play with if I need to, you know, if something stretches on me or whatever. And I will put it right sides together, a little over the edge. I will pin that, and then I will come down and I will sew about 3/8 of an inch. It's about how wide the casing is. 3/8 of an inch all the way down. And then when I get that sewn, I will turn it. Okay. If that were to wrap around, it would look something like that. I would turn it, and then I do that overcasting stitch on this side. All right. And actually, I do it before I turn it, but I wanted to show you the casing, the way it looked. But you turn it, and just, I do the overcasting stitching on this side. All right. When I get all that done, then I turn it over, and I turn it under all the way across. I just eyeball it, I just hand turn it across. Then I do an overcast stitch again on that edge, and then I come back and I do a pretty large running stitch right along the top here, right along the edge of where I turned it. That helps to keep that edge binding from rolling at all. Have you ever done a binding and then the edges wanted to roll on you? Well, that keeps that from happening. Okay, very simple. All right. And so when I get this done on all sides, that this one will be finished, I will run then a small casing strip. A lot of times what I use is a wide piece of ribbon that I have that I'm not using for anything, and I'll just sew it on. Makes a nice casing. Okay, and then I can run a rod through there, and then I can hang it. Okay, and I like doing it that way. It's just very easy, and it also keeps the quilt straight because the quilt is hanging on something all the way across. It's not just, some people put loops, but sometimes, you know, those don't get hung exactly right or whatever, and it kind of whoppy doodles it. Okay, all right. And again, show you how these leaves turned out on the edges. They're just raw edged and put on there. Okay, all right. I hope you're loving it. I know I am. I can't wait to get it up on the wall. Pretty soon my husband is going to do that for me when I feel better and I can walk better, and I can help him decide where to position it and things like that. So everyone take care, and until next time, let's grow our trees.